Jeffrey Smythe from Greenwood, Indiana. I started this monument circle downtown Indianapolis. Started building January 2017, so it took 15 months.
Yeah.
I'm thinking there's 65,000 parts. I didn't count exactly, but actually I started out building the monument, the tower, and it was just something I was going to do for myself. And then it started progressing. It was like, well, I wanted to do more. And it kind of took over. It was a lot. This is my first mock build, so it took a lot of trial and error, things would collapse or things wouldn't work. And then I found out about Bricklink.
And that's always an experience.
Yeah, exactly. Once I found Bricklink, it was like, okay, I'm building the whole thing. And so, because before that, I was doing a lot of shop goodwill,
Okay.
So, and then digging for parts. But I built it in sections. The main circle's a section. Then there's 8 surrounding sections that come apart.
As you were working on this, did you have photos of the monument and kind of the circle area around it to build off of?
I had photos of the monument. I also found a set of blueprints from 1953 from Ellis Ayres. They used to decorate the monument at Christmas. So I found an old set of blueprints that had some of the original dimensions on it. And then I would okay, so if this is 10 feet, then this must be 20 feet. Because I try to do it close to scale. So, yeah. It took, the water is 10,000 tiles. I know. That one I know because I kept having to reorder. I would think I had enough, and then it's no. And then,
You never have enough tiles for stuff like that. It's always way more than you think.
yeah, and also the water. I thought I can do this in a week because it's just a straight run. And 2 weeks later, I was still working on one side, and then 3 weeks, and then 3 weeks into it, I was changed how I was going to do it. And then, so it ended up taking 5 weeks for the water. But pretty happy with it. So
There's a lot of white here in this build. Was it difficult to find some of those pieces in white? I know you said you used Bricklink a lot.
yeah, it was difficult finding the white in especially large quantities. I did order some pieces from Lego just because I couldn't find them, so in a big quantity. But it was a lot of, there's some used pieces from the beginning because I started out without knowing about Bricklink or anything. So.
Yeah, and if you can talk about these lampposts a little more, they're really ornate and beautiful. I love what you did there. Some of the techniques you did to get those.
These are the bear claws. There's actually the snot studs are holding them in place. Then there's a post holding this guy together, and using some Technic pieces to hold the lamps in. So I just wanted them to dangle because that's how they do downtown, And I just kind of found parts that I could work into it.
And then you even got some of the writing, the inscriptions on it over here. Is that printed on or stickers?
It is a Avery wine label kit that it looked like it was going to work, and it did. So it was a lot of trial and error with the text, getting it proportioned right, but yeah, very happy with it. A lot of it was just, I needed something round, so I'd go through Bricklink parts round and say, okay, this will work, I think, and then ordering some or finding some. But, and it just slowly came together. So.
Yeah, trial and error. You mentioned, this is your first big build and everything. So do you have any tips for people maybe just starting out or trying to get better at building? Some things you learned along the lines here that you could give advice to someone?
Planning. I did a lot of drawing of sketches, sketching out parts. And I also did I would just grab parts and try to build the tower to see how it would hold, and the staircases were difficult to build, so there was a lot of trial and error with that. And it was just, okay, I think this is going to work. No, it's not. So go back, and just keep trying. It was, a lot of it was playing, trying to just figure out, which for me was fun.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Lego. You can, if it doesn't work, you tear it down and you start over.
Yeah, it wasn't, and I would reuse the parts. It wasn't like I was out for the most part anything. But it was just a lot of trial and error, and if you can, take your time. So I was rushing towards the end to get it ready for this weekend. But
yeah, the common issue that a lot of people face, you've got the show coming up, the deadlines, you start rushing everything.
It was great the first 12 months, then it slowly became, oh dear God, I have to get this done. So, but.
How'd you decide on Monument Circle here for your first big build? Is it just something you've always seen and been a fan of the monument, so you wanted to try to recreate it?
Drawn the monument for other projects. I do a lot of graphic stuff. I had been drawing it for years, and so it was in my head. Then when I wanted to build something, I was looking at what other people had built for Indianapolis, and there was Lucas Oil Stadium, and I'd seen some other buildings. I kept thinking, no one's ever done this, And I thought, well, I can do it. And so that's how it started. And I realized with all the circles, why no one had ever built. So that was, that's how it kind of started.
Yeah, well, I think it turned out wonderful, and it's instantly recognizable. If you've ever driven through Indianapolis, you recognize it for sure, walked around that area. So I think it's a great addition to the show, being in Indianapolis here. Thanks for bringing it.
Thank you for having me.